do that and do this now. We're going to talk about our missions, the missions that we send money as a church to throughout the year. I will share with you just a description of each one with the hope that you will be very familiar with what goes on, how we use our missions funds. Throughout the year. One of the unfinished things that we have in our church is that map on the wall outside. We have a map up there, but that's it. That's something that we're hoping to present a visual of the missions that we talk about today, so that we can be mindful, keep in our prayer, and keep updated on what goes on. And we're looking to, on the top, like as a heading, use Acts chapter 1, verse 8. So I'm going to read that to you first as we start here to help lead our discussion. I'm going to read verse 7 and 8. And he said to them, this is Jesus speaking, "It is not for you to know times or seasons which the Father has put in us in his own authority, but you shall receive power when the Holy Spirit has come upon you, and you shall be witnesses to me in Jerusalem and in all Judea and Samaria, and to the end of the earth." Let me read that again. That's what's going to be put on the front there. "You shall receive power when the Holy Spirit has come upon you, and you shall be witnesses to me in Jerusalem and in all Judea and Samaria, and to the end of the earth." We're called to be witnesses to Jesus in all of those places. And so we're going to look at how this church answers that commandment. So these are the 5 missions that we serve. I was going to go in alphabetical order because of no importance. One is not more important than the other kind of thing. But the Children of Promise, I have a little activity for us to do, so I kept that at the end. So the first one is African Hope. And we have Grace Christian Tutoring School. We don't fund that school, but we sponsor students through there. So we'll talk about that. We serve Pacific Pregnancy Clinic in Coos Bay, the School of the Called Seminary, which is Don Minkler's seminary. And then we serve Children of Promise. So let's talk about African Hope first. African Hope is a ministry. It's a small ministry. I believe it was Don and Bob that met the missionary Quat Gore at an event. And we've been serving his mission work ever since. So we think it's about since 2018 the church has brought that. So I'm going to for each one of these I'm going to tell you, I'm hopefully providing the contact information here, and I'm going to tell you how we support them, how long we've partnered, and its mission and a description of the program. We support this ministry using 1.33% of our revenue. So whatever our revenue comes in, we give that percentage to this mission work. And this mission its primary purpose is to establish and maintain churches, schools, orphanages, and feeding programs in South Sudan and Uganda. Quat is the missionary in South Sudan, and he has provided education and food over 500 orphans in the Nuba Mountain region of South Sudan. And then there's 2 sites in Uganda that are serving widows and orphans in their pastoral ministries. Pastor Fred and Susan have over 100 orphans to feed and clothe. And Pastor David and Aida are serving war victims. Widows that are unable to get employment in that area are needed serving, with prostitution being really their only desperate option. Some of the needs for African Hope right now, they're really in need of a leadership. They've asked for prayer, urgent prayer in the last month. I think it was their April newsletter. They asked for prayer. Their leadership is very feeble. It's run by, Randy is the son of Norma, who sends us the letters. Norma's the secretary, and Norma is 90 years old. And she has committed to doing this until someone takes over. So they're in need of a leadership to take over this ministry. Randy is the president. He's the one that goes and trains people in these regions to build aquaponic and hydroponic systems, and to teach widows how to maintain and use those for small business ventures. So that's what they do. Their total sort of expense, I guess, of the year runs under $20,000 a year. So it's a small outfit, but we serve them with our tithing. I feel like I should ask questions, or have you guys ask questions if you want. Maybe I'll do that at the end. I don't know. But if there's any burning thing to say with these, I'd love to answer any questions. Let's go to the next one. Grace Christian Tutoring School. There's a couple of you who know about Grace Christian Tutoring School here. We have some students that go attend Grace Christian, but for those of you who don't know what Grace Christian Tutoring School is, it is a private tutoring school that has been housed at Seabird Chapel. They've used our building for many years now, I think 8 years, something like that. They serve pre-K through high school, and now they're using 2 buildings, Seabird Chapel and Faith Baptist. So our church does not run this school. Our church allows the school to be functioning in our building. Of course, we support it in many different ways. Pastor Jim makes himself available at board meetings, and he is here for serving in chapel. We help with fundraisers and things like that, but they're 2 separate things, so just keep that in mind. How we support our missions money is we sponsor 2 students to attend Grace Christian Tutoring School. So that's how we are using that missions money. We've done that for a year, and that's about $240 a month to sponsor the students. I just pulled this right off of the Facebook page from Grace Christian, I probably could be having more people say more things than me at this about their mission and their program, but their summary is they offer an affordable, individually based Christian pacework program. Their mission is to put Christ first while also offering a full coursework. And hands-on enrichment program. They offer low student-instructor ratio and many engaging and collaborative events and field trips. And then they are a nonprofit who keeps tuition low, and they do have scholarship opportunities. They currently serve over 50 students from our Bandon community, and I believe some from Port Orford. Is that right? And they use Seabird Chapel's upstairs. That's the Kohler's classroom is upstairs. If you've never walked upstairs to take a look at their classroom, I encourage you to. I think that's really something we should be familiar with. Or even peek into the classroom right at on the right of the foyer. They use that room too. They also use the nursery area and the kitchen. Use a lot of the kitchen time. You guys use a lot of cooking in there. So I encourage you to familiarize yourself with the facilities that they have. It's good to keep a picture as you pray for our missions, to visualize what you're praying for. All right, so Pacific Pregnancy Clinic has gone through many different names over the years, but this is their current name. They have been in our Coos County existence since 1986. Madge Osborne is the executive director, and we support Pacific Pregnancy Clinic with $50 a month out of our budget. We've been doing that for over 5 years. I tried to find the date, but it's about 5 years, probably more like 8. Pacific Pregnancy Clinic is a unique Coos County pregnancy clinic in Coos County. It's unique. I'm not saying not all of pregnancy clinics around the nation are not like this, but I would say the Pacific Pregnancy Clinic is just a cut above because they really see themselves as mission work. They never do anything without Jesus' name going first. They don't hide that at all. And they provide a loving, safe, and confidential atmosphere where a woman can talk with a trained patient coordinator. And since opening in 1986, they've seen almost 40,000 clients. They provide free pregnancy tests, ultrasound scans, prenatal and parenting education. What is also really great is they also provide a men's mentoring program, and they also provide post-abortion counsel. All services and programs of the PPC are confidential and they're free of charge. They are this is just from their website, they're pro-woman, pro-man, pro-child agency that does not profit from the reproductive choices a person makes. We do not perform or refer our clients for abortion, nor do we ever expose a client to abortion scenes or any type of graphic material. We believe that our clients need to be well informed and free from undue influences in order to make the best possible decision, a decision they can live with. Our clients have indicated that we are the one organization who truly listened to them, provided them with medically accurate information, and took time to answer their questions. And we can vouch for that. I can vouch for that. I've seen the emails come through. Jim is on the prayer chain for the PPC and monthly. There's requests coming in to urgent prayer for someone who is abortion-minded, coming in, they counseled. It's always a really victorious and feeling thing to hear that they've changed their mind. We've attended their pregnancy fundraiser dinners every year, and just hearing the testimonials, they really are doing incredibly hard, delicate, sensitive, needed work in our county. And $50 a month seems very small. I know that individuals in our church have also contributed in ways like attending the Walk for Life fundraiser, which is coming up. I think it's in September. It might be October. I don't know. But we'll share with you when that happens. But it's a 5K. And then also we have those baby bottle fundraisers, donations where we drop our change in and we collect. They also have some needs. They are in need of volunteers. And we do have a volunteer packet. If you're interested, I can give you one. The church has one here. They're hiring right now. They need an RN, and they need an administrative assistant. And also, they need us to participate in these fundraisers. They have 2 big fundraisers a year, and that's all they're funded by. They're funded by those things, and the Lord takes care of them. It's a really great work in our community. We're happy to be a partner with that. All right, the next one is the School of Occult Seminary, and here's another one where probably I'm talking to the choir kind of thing, like, there's very familiar with Don. This is the president. Don is Jim's brother. He was the pastor here before Jim. In 1999 or 98, I guess, Don came and brought his family to pastor Seabird. It wasn't Seabird Chapel at the time. It was First Church of God in Bandon. And for, I think it was about 13 years, he was the senior pastor while Jim was the youth pastor. And then Don felt the call to form this School of the Called Ministry, seminary. And it had been about 20 years in the making in his heart and his mind, in his imaginations, and in his prayers before it launched. It's a beautiful thing to watch how the Lord is developing this seminary. And we, Seabird Chapel, have been there since its beginning, we fund him, we support him with $1,800 a year, plus 1.33% of the total revenue of our church. His mission statement is a truly unique seminary committed to the great doctrines of the faith, advanced discipleship course, and pastoral influence. The program is pastoral training. It's a different kind of seminary. So seminaries and Christian universities are so often designed in a manner which only few can afford. However, the School of the Called Seminary has been designed so that cost would not ever be a hindrance to anyone whom the Lord has called to the ministry. I'm reading this from his website. The seminary has been prayerfully and carefully designed in order to serve as a true school for those who God has called to the ministry, as well as serving as an arm of the local church through assisting faithful pastors to fulfill their call to disciple their people. It helps train pastors to disciple. And currently, Don just came back. There's a picture there, meeting with Handelsmith. He's the executive director of U.S. and Canada strategy in the Church of God. So we are affiliated with the Church of God out of Anderson, Indiana. And Handel oversees about 1,900 churches. He held a conference for pastors in Anderson. Don did. He held a conference for pastors and leaders in Anderson, Indiana, which is the Church of God headquarters. Handel has since, this is just last week, and Handel has since invited Don to join him on a trip to the Dominican Republic to connect with a philanthropist there in hopes to fund the ministry. So there's hopes for that. And over this last few years, Don has completed pastors' training courses here in Oregon, Southern California, in Indiana, in Mexico, and the Philippines. And he's considering right now one in Laos. So be in prayer for that. I know Steve Asada was influential on that. So that's sort of the next step on that. I'm sure I can talk tons more about Don's ministry. His heart and soul was birthed out of being a pastor here at this church. And he's written books. There's so much he's done with the Lord's provision. And it's just now sort of launching. It's taking off. We be in more prayer than ever for that. All right. So the last one is Children of Promise. And this is probably the longest mission partnership that we've had as a church. Children of Promise started in the 90s, in 1992, I believe. And we, this little community, this little congregation in Bandon, was one of the first congregations in the Church of God, in those 1900 churches, to sponsor children through Children of Promise. We currently sponsor 3 children. So Children of Promise it's not, it's its own mission work, but it was birthed out of the Church of God movement. So that's my understanding. It is different than something like Compassion International. There's you guys might be familiar with things like that, where you sponsor a child and it provides them all of their necessities plus Christian education. Children of Promise is a smaller outfit, and they work kind of more underground. They only have local people serving the children there. Like, they don't bring in foreign people with their big buildings and things like that and serve the communities. They go where they have workers already in the community, churches already in the community. Currently, well, let me tell you what it is first, I guess. It's a locally shaped, globally supported, and children have the best chance at wholeness when they have their basic needs met and when they are a part of a loving community. Children of Promise local leaders promises local leaders in more than 30 countries around the world identify children in their communities who would benefit from child sponsorship. So the local people identify those children, and that ensures support provided to sponsor children that makes the biggest possible impact. And when we support Children of Promise, you're not just making a donation, you're joining a family of local leaders from churches around the world, staff, sponsors, and donors, and together we are all working to bring hope and wholeness to children in need. When we share the love of Jesus, we become more whole too. And there are 4,650 children in the program right now, in 43 programs across 35 countries. And the 4 basic pillars they do, the next slide I think shows that: nutrition, education, healthcare, and discipleship. So that's just from their website. I just copy pasted. So I would encourage you to look at the website. There's a lot of ways you can serve Children of Promise. Children's sponsorship is one, and I know some of you individually sponsor a child. It's $32 a month for that. I have the 3. I think the next slide shows one of the picture. Oh, so we sponsor 3 children as a church, and one's from Myanmar, the next one's from Nepal, and the other one's from Malawi. And the one from Nepal is our newest child. The one before that aged out. And so the Children of Promise joins us with another one to serve. So this is our newest one, Freedom. And when we have little bios from each one, we receive letters. I think it's every 3 months or every 6 months, letters and an updated picture from our students, from our kiddos. And I don't have all 3 pictures. For some reason, we don't have a picture from one of them. I have the other one here. This is the one we've served the longest out of the 3. Ma Shui Yi, okay? I have some bio on her too. She was born in 2005, so she's really close to being aged out as well. This was an updated bio. This one right here, his father's deceased. His mother's a farmer. It's nice to know the different aspects of who these were. And when we get our board updated up there, this is what I'm hoping we'll keep these up there for our prayers. I'm hoping today, so we're encouraged to write to our sponsored children. And I'm hoping today we could take some time to just write a little note, and we'll collect them at the end, and then like Mary or Jim will mail them periodically throughout this year. We won't flood it all with one big lump of letters, but it would be neat to do that. So in a second we'll do that. I also want to say Hallie, this is the organization that Hallie went to Egypt with a couple years ago. Which was one of the best set up. Like if you've never been out of the country, this was they just take care of everything for you. Like it's so well set up. It's very easy to go on these trips with these. But throughout the 3 years, so every 3 years, they visit every space that we go, at all 35 countries. So we go and visit. And our coordinators, the executive directors, and also Kyle is the one who came and spoke to us a couple years ago. They're the heads of the visiting, and they bring anyone along who wants to see. And what you do is you really just are there to interview the churches that are serving the students, and then you help take that data, that feedback. So that's the work that you're doing, but really you're there to get a peek into seeing how God's working in different places of the countries, the world. They have a trip scheduled in November to Nepal. So one of our kids that we sponsor, you could potentially go meet them in person if you went on their trip. So that's pretty cool. So anyway, what I'd like for us to do, well, I guess, is there any questions about our missions, those 5 ones? No? I hope that helped familiarize yourself with what we serve. All together, one of the things that I did bring, did I put it up? I did put it up in one of the slides there. This is about 10% of our revenue that we do. So where we teach that we all should be tithing, because the commandment of the Lord, there's not a hard, fast number. The Old Testament does give a rule of thumb of 10%, so that's a good rule of thumb to keep. But it's not managed. It's not dictated by anybody. But we as a church do the same. From all the tithings and offerings that come in, the revenue that comes in from our investments, we tithe on that. And with our tithing, that's what we do. We fund our missions through that. All right. I'm going to give you a letter. I think, can you go to the next? Yeah. So I'm going to give you a letter, a template here. And if you would like, I would like for us to write a little note to one of those. We'll keep the 3 people up on the slide. I want you to keep in mind, it's just an encouragement, maybe something that's been on your heart to share, what it's like here or what you hope for them there. You want to include the child's name, the ID number, and sign your name with your name and then Seabird Chapel, right? Seabird Chapel on it so that they know that it's from there. We will mail these. So we mail them, and then they get translated to the child. Before we do that, though, I'd like us to kind of get in little small groups and pray for these 5 missions if we can. So we have, I guess we're good on time. I don't know. It's about time to be closing. if we could spend about 5 minutes to just in a group to pray, and then I'll be passing out the papers. If you want to stay around, and we have pens at the back. If you want to write a letter, or if you just want to take the paper with you and then turn it in later, that's fine too. But we need all of us to contribute to these missions, and this is another way to do it, to communicate with our sponsored children. So, shall we do that? I don't know. Do you need me to assign you in groups, or you just want to kind of look around and circle around? We'll get that.